Hello, hello, it's Memento, and I'm here with another game review. This time I want to talk about Peaceful Days, and this game really threw me for a loop. I truly think it has the potential to be amazing, but just needs a little bit more time and attention to get there, which is why I'm doing this review. I want to give an honest critique of Peaceful Days because I genuinely believe in the success of this game. So within this review, I'm going to be breaking down some of the major problems I had with the game, bringing up smaller details that I noticed, and then highlighting some of my personal favorite things. My aim is to be constructive and offer real feedback and not harsh or mean or cruel because I don't think anyone deserves that. So to start though, I want to make one thing clear. This game is not Stardew Valley. It's very different from Stardew Valley. In my research about this game, I noticed that a lot of people compare it to Stardew Valley, which makes sense given that Stardew's kind of the gold standard when you look at these types of farming games. Where I think a lot of people get it wrong though is thinking that Peaceful Days is just a copy when it most certainly isn't. While there are absolutely shared traits between the game, I believe that Peaceful Days does a good job separating itself from Stardew Valley and standing on its own 2 feet. So, with that disclaimer out of the way, let me start at the beginning. I really enjoyed the concept behind Peaceful Days. The game title itself is a little bit deceptive because it isn't about you having peace. Instead, it's about bringing peace back to Aurora Town. Although the residents don't know it, the town is actually in danger of being overtaken by a mysterious mega corporation, and the goddess of the town hopes that you'll be the one to keep it safe from a most unfortunate fate. I really enjoyed the blending of mystical and completely normal that we see in the beginning of the game. Right now, I'm a little unsure on how much the villagers know about these gods and goddesses that seem to reside within the land, but we can certainly see them, and one of them is quite, unique. The challenge from that particular god is also really hard, but I don't mind a chance to flex my farming skills. This short intro takes you to Move-In Day, where you meet Robert, the mayor of the town. He's a bit of a funny guy and definitely one of the characters that drives the story forward, and I feel like in any given farming sim game, you need that driving force character. And honestly, I enjoyed his writing overall, and I think the start of the game was really solid, but I didn't appreciate it until I got further into the game. When I first played it, the intro didn't make the most sense to me, and I was kind of like, wow, what a tonal shift. But once I got through the majority of the demo, I was like, oh, it makes sense. I get it. It takes a little bit for the main story to really start unfolding, and the demo, you truly only get a glimpse of it. But the gist that I got is we need to protect this town, and we're working with the mayor to keep a mysterious corporation from overtaking it and destroying it. As a side note though, can I romance that guard? I feel like I have some star-crossed lovers stuff going on, and it might add to my personal immersion. That's not a totally necessary thing to add, but it was something I just thought would be fun. So let me move on to the characters now. There are so many characters in Peaceful Days. I love that the town is so lively and there are always people moving about, not to mention all the different shops. And one detail I thought was really amazing was that people actually go to the restaurant each day for lunch, and a lot of them then go to the bar for the dinner and the live music. So that was just really cool to see how well the characters were scheduled, and in general it was nice to see people sitting on the benches or spending time with their families, so I really could tell who had relationships with who and who didn't really know each other. One big problem I had though was the disconnect in some of the dialogue, and I'm going to use the blacksmith as an example. He's not a fan of me, yet he greets me enthusiastically before basically brushing me aside. What he says is he's like, "Hi!" and then he's like, "I don't have time to talk right now." This kind of leads to a tonal disconnect, but I think that's an easy fix. Maybe instead of "Hey!" he gives a "Hey" as a greeting until you get to, I don't know, 4 hearts. And then the dialogue changes, and maybe then he's more like, "Hey!" Obviously, I'm giving an arbitrary amount of relationship because I don't know how his particular story unfolds, but essentially what I'm saying is wherever the turning point for his relationship is could be a trigger for the grading to change. And this could also help with some of the repetitive dialogue. Again, I'm not going to hold it against the dev that he hasn't put in thousands of unique lines of dialogue for basic interactions, but it could help break it up a little without it being overwhelming. This could also trigger the greetings to change itself, and it adds a little bit more variety without asking for thousands upon thousands of lines of dialogue. In general, though, some of the dialogue just didn't always feel natural to me personally, and it's okay if there's not a ton, but I think emphasizing making it sound natural is going to be better, and that would be my priority personally. My other issue when it came to characters was quite a lot of them looked really similar to me, and when looking at the sprites, a lot of them are lacking in truly standout features. And this was mainly an issue with the male sprites, since I noticed the female characters had a bit more visual diversity to them. And when I was looking at the characters, the ones I gravitated towards were the ones with the more visual diversity. My favorite character being Jason. Jason with his like bright white hair. He stood out to me immediately, and then when I talked to him, I really liked him genuinely as a character. And I totally understand that these are NPCs and they're not meant to stand out a ton, but I want them to be recognizable, and I want to fall in love with each character and get to know each of them, and I feel like that starts with their appearance and being able to more easily tell them apart. And I totally understand that this game kept it a little more realistic with how the hair and hairstyles were, so maybe a little bit with the clothing or something like an accessory of some sort could be a great place to start with that. But what I do love is, while there might not be a ton of visual diversity, the characters themselves are so diverse. It was such a diverse cast of characters, and I enjoyed getting to know some of them over the course of the demo. Like I said, Jason, he stole my whole heart, and I definitely was giving all my friendship candies to him. Which, side note, I really liked the friendship candies. I thought they were a great addition. Even if it was only something in the demo to help, I thought that was fun, and I'd never seen it before. Honestly, I'm a little amazed I didn't even get a heart event with him, because I funneled all my love into Jason. But so many of the characters are from different areas, and I love that each one of the characters really references their specific culture. And oh my gosh, the restaurant, favorite place, so amazing. And I found it really fun to go around and meet everyone, and I love that there was a map. It makes it so much easier when I have to find that last person on the meet everyone quest that, you have in every one of these games. Or when I was needing to do deliveries for one of the mail quests, it took the pressure off needing to learn everyone's schedules and even names, as I struggle with remembering character names especially in that short of a time. So I could easily match names and then find their icon on the map, since the name also appeared with their icon, and then I could hunt them down. We're going to move on to the biggest section, and I really took the time to break this one down so I could tell you everything that I thought. And one thing I do want to say is that it's really hard to make truly innovative features in a game like this. There is so much overlap in every single farming sim game that I've played, and I think Peaceful Days does a good job at not being a carbon copy of every other farming game out there, while still embracing the things that so many people love about farming games. So let's break down each of the things that happens over the course of the game. First, number 1, the farming. The farming is overall really simple. Hoe the ground, plant the seed, water the crop, and let it grow. Water it each day until it grows. I haven't seen any screenshots showing sprinklers, so as far as I know, we have to do it manually unless it's raining, but the rain did appear to be quite frequent, at least in the demo, and the watering can has 30 charges to start, and that's visible in the upper left corner of the screen. It took me a while to find it, so at first I thought it was infinite, and I was like, why do they keep saying I need to fill it? Oh, that's why. You can also use fertilizer to increase the quality of your crops. As far as I can tell, there's actually 4 quality levels to your harvest. It felt pretty standard. It flowed well, and I didn't mind it. I do wish you could clear the bushes, but I'm also, that could be a thing that you get in the future when you upgrade your tools. I just couldn't get to that point because I was playing a demo. But yeah, farming flowed pretty well, made a lot of sense, and I didn't find it didn't feel clunky at all, which I really appreciated. Number 2, foraging. There are so many different forageables in the world. Not many spawned in on day 1, so I actually got a bit worried about this, but by day 3 and 4, I started finding so many of them that they were kind of my early game money, and I did give a few as gifts, mainly to Jason. But most forageables seem to be used for cooking, which I never did because I forgot about. Cooking's like my least favorite thing to do in these games, and I always save it for the last second, so I'm so sorry. I have no cooking. Number 3, mining. Straightforward. There's a mine in the upper part of the map. The ladder down seems to spawn after either hitting a rock or digging up some dirt. There's no indication in the early game whether the mines go super deep or not, but I suspect there's quite a few levels, seeing as I didn't come across any copper ore on the 2 levels I was able to explore because my energy management low-key sucked. Four, fishing. At first, I genuinely thought I might have found my least favorite fishing game. I'm a little bit of a fish expert at this point, but it turns out it's just a little extra complicated, and I think this is just because so many different games... And I think this is just because so many games have fishing minigames, and the quest to do something different in a fishing minigame is like an art form, and I didn't end up actually hating the one in Peaceful Days. It was a little complicated, and I really had to like take a second to be like, am I being a dummy? Should have read the tutorial a little bit better. It wasn't that bad once I got used to it. Side note though, I like that you can opt to turn it off completely. So if you find it super difficult, since it does have a bit of a learning curve, you don't actually have to stress over it, and that was really nice. But I wanted to stress over it because I'm a little bit extra. Five, the bulletin board. This is also one of those staples in these games. It's a game request board, and I think Peaceful Days does it well. Each day there were several quests listed that range from deliveries, obtaining certain items, and part-time jobs. Speaking of part-time jobs, that's number 6. I loved this system. I thought that this was so cool that you can go work a little part-time job each day, or 2 part-time jobs, for a little bit extra money. Each job has a different minigame associated with it, and I thought these were absurdly fun, except for one of them. But I thought this was such a cool concept. I haven't really seen that, and it took a lot of things that I liked in a lot of other games. Like, I just played through Discounty. I loved scanning the items in Discounty and trying to remember the prices and do the mental math to figure out everyone's totals. I got to do that in this game. I don't mind timed puzzles like the chopping of the wood. All of it was really cool. But I am going to talk about the cooking minigame. The cooking minigame was rough. While I enjoyed it and I did well at the rest of them, the cooking minigame felt like it moved way too fast. Before I could even process the ingredients that I needed, I was out of time, and it was refreshing the ingredients, and it was really frustrating that I got like 2 things done, and maybe you get better with it at time. Maybe over time you get better at it, but it was so incredibly punishing, and for something that is in general just a silly little mini game, it felt too brutal to me. So my suggestion would be, why not do it like the grocery store one, where until you finish each customer, it doesn't move on to the next. And then, this might be a little bit nitpicky, but I do wish that in the grocery store one, I could have typed in the numbers on my keyboard. It would have just been a little bit easier than using the mouse. That being said, it was my favorite because I love doing mental math, and I did have a lot of fun with it, but that's just like, that's one of those like polishes. That's a suggestion that personal suggestion there. I just like being able to use my numbers. I don't even have a numpad, but I'll use the little numbers at the top. But again, I loved the part-time jobs. This was my favorite thing in Peaceful Days, aside from Jason, the love of my life. Part-time jobs, superbly done. On to number 7 and our final category, the festivals. Peaceful Days boasts a whopping 3 festivals a season. I love that there are so many, but I only had access to one of them over the course of the demo, which was fine, and I did not mind only getting to try one. What I did mind, though, was it was less of a festival and more of an event that didn't feel like it led to anything. In the first festival, you're meant to give out flowers to the people of Aurora Town. You know about the festival ahead of time, but you don't know anything about it. It's simple and sweet, but my problem is, since I didn't have any details, I had no flowers saved up, and I got bad RNG that day, so my forageables, there were like no flowers in the village. I walked around, I tried to look for everything, and I just didn't find any, and that's bad RNG. That's gonna happen. I basically made sure Jason got one, and then I gave out one additional flower because I was gifted one at the start of the day when I was told about the festival. The village itself also wasn't decorated or anything, so I kind of figured this festival just wasn't a big deal, and personally I didn't feel the need to try to do more with it because I was like, oh, it's just fun little thing that I could do. However, that was wrong. Every person you give a flower to, you earn a point for, and you use those points to buy fun decorations and a radio that tells you the weather. So what's the problem? Why am I upset about this? You don't learn about this until the day after the festival, when the game's already saved. So I can't even like kind of finagle it and go, hee, I'll just dial it back. Basically, I believe that you were meant to be able to get to the radio because 10 points is really doable. Give out 10 flowers, that seems really easy. So I think that you were sequentially supposed to get that radio in that moment. But because I didn't know about the rewards, I didn't really do much with the festival. I also had bad RNG. So like, it just was a lot of compounding things that led up to me feeling really disappointed. But this is an easy fix. I tell the player about it a day or two ahead of time. Instead of someone giving you that flower on the day of the festival, what if instead you have someone bring you the flower the day before the festival and be like, hey, we have a festival tomorrow where we're giving out flowers. Here's a flower for you to get you started on it since you're new to the village and you might not have anything. And I think that could have made a world of difference, and it would get you invested. It would make you want to participate. And a side note, if the town is a little bit decorated, that would be really cool too, but I totally understand that is one of those things that could come way, way, way later. Okay, I told you that was a really beefy section. We had 7 whole categories for it, but I really wanted to break down all of the mechanics. My final, I guess, chunky section is the music. Some of the tracks I really like, but others I found a bit too brassy for my personal taste when it comes to farming sims. I just prefer my music in farming sims especially to be really like toned down and calm, and I don't know, something about brassy music like does not do that for me. However, that's a personal preference, and you guys have been listening to the music all throughout this video, so I urge you to use your own opinion and forge your own opinions on how you feel about the music. And basically, I do think the music fit the themes nicely, just it wasn't my personal favorite for some of the tracks. Also, I turn off sound effects when I record. That's because I record raw footage and I want to make sure that you guys are getting like the full music without having like sound effects of me like chopping trees, because you all don't want to be listening to like la da 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 as I'm like, you know, we don't want to hear the chopping sounds. Anyway, I think I think you just hear the rain on rainy days. So, there was nice music playing in my house, and when I left my house, it was just silence. And that was a little creepy. But that was just a little funny side note. Don't turn off most people aren't going to turn off sound effects. That's a me personal thing. So, that's not knocking it. That was just a funny experience I had. Now, I want to move on to a few small things that I don't really feel fit anywhere else. My first thing is the days felt a little bit too long sometimes, especially for the amount of energy that we have. Granted, you have so many forageables that I do feel like you can replenish your energy. I happen to continuously forget and get into a loop of passing out. But I felt like I could accomplish everything I needed to long before I was getting even any sort of warning to go to sleep. And also, if you run out of energy, you just fall asleep until the next day and wake up with half energy. And then if you're like me, you run that energy out. And I might have wasted 3 days of the demo doing that because that was a me personal thing. But I did feel that the days were just a little bit too long. I might have been spoiled, though, by Firefly Village, where somehow 4-minute days were really fun to me. The idea of some long-term quests I really enjoyed. The first Guardian we get a quest for asks for crops that have a higher rarity than the last, which is really challenging, but it works well as something to do semi-long-term. I also like how everything has progress bars, so we can actively see how close we're getting to level up. So like if my fishing is at like 90%, I know that like I need to suck it up and get some more fish in there, because then I can level up for the next day. So I liked that, and I feel like a lot of people have always wanted that as an implemented thing in farming sim games, to know where they stand in the level up. So I really like that that's in the base game. Overall, I think Peaceful Days has so much potential. It stands out from other farming sim games, especially with the part-time jobs. I just think it needs some more polish. I'm so happy to see that the dev has come back to the game and is giving monthly updates on progress. While there doesn't seem to be an overall roadmap of everything being worked on, there is a lot of consistency with each update, and the dev does seem to be working extremely hard to bring this full game to light. There's still a lot left to do, it seems, but I definitely believe in this game, and I can tell that the dev is passionate in bringing this game to life. Currently, the game retails for $10, which I think is really reasonable considering the giant scope of the game. I mean, just think about it. You have a game where you're going to have, there's 4 months in a season, 28 days, or there's 4 seasons in a year, there's 28 days in each season. Each one of those seasons has 3 festivals. There appear to be overarching quests. The village is massive. It seems as though there is a ton of content in this game, and you're going to be able to put hours and hours and hours into this game without having to worry about like a lull. So I think $10 is incredibly reasonable because of that humongous scope. I don't know if the price is going to increase once the game hits 1.0, but I certainly look forward to seeing where Peaceful Days will go, and I'm really looking forward to finding out what the overall story is going to be. We don't know a lot about this mega corporation, the ones that take over the town. We don't know a lot about these Guardians and how much other people know about the Guardians, and there's just so many mysteries that could still unfold, and I really... Again, I think Peaceful Days has so much potential and is so charming, and I hope this review helped show you guys that, and I hope this review, if the dev happens to see it, I hope it gave you some ideas of things that I felt as someone who's played way too many farming sim games, and yeah, thank you. You made an amazing game. It's really fun, and I really liked it. Alright guys. If you got this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And if you want to see more of me, give this video a like, leave a nice little comment, and maybe even subscribe so that you know every time I upload a new video. And now I'm going to reclaim my peace. Ready, steady, bye!